Welcome to Two Humans Talking, the podcast that talks about what it really takes to be healthy in today's modern, fast-paced world. I'm Tiffany, and today I'm here with Regina, and we're going to talk all about you as a person. How do you connect that mind, body, soul experience so that you don't live your life in a dumpster fire each and every day, but you get back to you and finding the energy and vibrancy and just life that you're like, how does everyone else do it? I want some of that. We're going to talk about that today. But before we dive in, Regina, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. Just in this very short conversation that we had before we hit record today, like Regina is such a breath of fresh air. She's so calm. She's so centered. And those were like the first in my body, that was like the reaction my body had when we got on the call and I saw you. Like, you have this very calming energy, very soothing, very just grounded. And I think everyone needs a little bit of that. So Regina, if you don't mind, can you share like who you are, what lights your soul on fire? Maybe what do you do on a Saturday when you're just being yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
So I am a mom of two boys. They're 8 and almost 10, and I homeschool them. So, my life revolves around making sure that my kids are becoming educated in a way that lets them stay creative and explore whatever it is that makes their heart sing. It's not the easiest gig, but it's fun to watch them grow every single day and be with them and connect with them in a way that I didn't really have the opportunity to in the beginning. So when I'm not doing work, I'm with them all the time, and we're all three of us in capoeira, so Brazilian martial arts. So for us, it's a way to stay active. Cool. Yeah. To connect with the community around us, to make really long, strong, lasting relationships where we are, because homeschooling can be kind of ostracizing if you do it a specific way. So we stay connected with the people in our community that way. And when I'm working, I am focused on helping people heal as quickly as possible, because I don't think anybody should have to stay with a problem longer than necessary. I think we should all be able to work through our struggles in a very, I don't know, in an optimal way. I think there's so much that we can do these days with all the tools and techniques that we have available to us to actually get results and not have things have to drag out for a really long time. And so I'm all about quickness, rapidness, solving problems quickly so you can get on with your life and enjoy what you have been blessed with.
That like identification of the root cause so that we can actually fix the thing and it stops popping up for you.
Exactly, because that's what most of our problems are.
Yeah, so often in our society, and I don't think I can blame anyone. I think it was just the nature of the beast. We want to treat people's symptoms to alleviate the right now problems because I got to get you through. I got to triage you, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's in like the fast-paced medical world. Yeah.
Yeah, and when in reality, the reason we're having those symptoms is that there's an underlying something going on. And so after the triage, we need to go, like, yes, we should triage. We need to help soothe you right now. But like,
right.
let's get down to like the root cause of what was causing that so that we can actually help you live a better life moving forward and stop repeating the same problems.
Cycle. Yeah, everything for us as humans is cyclical, right? Everything is about safety, security, and familiarity, and avoiding pain and trying to achieve pleasure. And so our entire experience as individuals is about finding what makes us happy. And sometimes it's not about even being happy, it's just about being familiar and comfortable, which is okay, but complacency can really disrupt people's lives. So
I love that you said that because as you were talking about like comfort and pain, like seek comfort, avoid pain, sometimes seek pleasure, but really it's that like comfort, avoid death moment.
yeah, that's it.
And so many of us get stuck in that because something that I've been working through myself for the last few years is yes, this might be comfortable. I'm miserable. I feel stuck. Everything is heavy. But like, comfort is uncomfortable. Why am I doing this? And it's because with the comfort is soothing. The results are predictable. I know what to expect. I know what
Exactly.
misery results in, and that's comfortable. That knowingness,
Yeah.
that even though it sucks, at least I know what to expect each and every day. And when you
Yeah.
try to change that up, you're changing it up. The change is uncomfortable because you've never done it before. You haven't practiced that over and over again for it to be second nature. And then you don't really know what you're going to get out of it. You hope that you get X, Y, or Z result, but
Yeah.
like it's not a guarantee. And so like people a lot of times it's I'd rather be miserable and know what I'm expecting every day than to like shake the cage, rattle the cage and not know what's on the other side of the bars.
I agree completely because it's so normal for us to be okay with staying the same. It's so normal for us to be unhappy staying the same, but consciously we say, I don't know. I don't know why I do this, or I don't know why I can't change this. But then subconsciously, we don't know that our mind is keeping us there because it is familiar. It is comfortable, even if it's disruptive.
Yeah. And you can take like I was just talking about this with a client today. So often we want to know everything about the new thing we're doing. We're going to say, like, someone offers us a supplement, someone offers us something that we've never done before. We want to ask a million questions. What's in it? What's the science? Is this really good for me? But yet we never questioned the Snickers and the Twinkies and the Ho-Hos, right? Because
Yeah.
the people around us said that that was safe and normal. And so we were
Yeah.
with everyone. Now, if I go and break the mold and I try something new, even if it's going to better me, the people that I'm around now, I'm ostracizing myself. Now I'm setting myself up to be challenged and ridiculed and questioned and grilled. And
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I just want to be accepted and hide in the back corner, right? And so,
Yeah.
like, that dichotomy of like finding your way through the messy and stepping away from a pack that you don't actually like, but you're afraid to
Mm.
live without because it's all you've ever known is so messy for people.
It is. And that's that people don't like this term, but herd mentality, right? Like this is the way that we survived tribally
Mm-hmm.
thousands of years ago. And safety was always at the forefront before anything else emotionally. And you had to just be okay with being within the safety of the tribe, within the safety of the herd. So we still have that mind that it works the same way as it always has. It's the one thing that hasn't evolved along with, the rest of our reality. So I totally agree with you on all of that. Like it's so hard to get out of a behavior because it's so familiar, but also because it keeps us safe within the group of people. What's going to happen, right? Like so we're always worried about what's going to happen if I do this. We're
Yeah.
so worried about knowing the label or knowing the outcome that we forget about the excitement that could come with the change, right? We forget about, I mean, I just had a client who moved houses. She was in this gigantic four bedroom house with just her daughter and their dog. And she's like, I can't stand living here. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I can't stand living here. And I'm like, okay, like what are you going to do about it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It took a discomfort within her relationship and between her and her landlord that she moved. They moved to a smaller house, right? And now she's like, I love it. I love it so much. Like, I love the fact that we're here, right? It's so amazing. Now, that's just a simple, you know, scenario of the excitement and the happiness and the actual comfort that can come with a situation. But we get
Yeah.
stuck in the I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if I feel comfortable doing it. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. So I'd rather just stay here because this feels good.
Yeah. The visual that popped into my head, because I'm a very visual person, it's like cartoons all the time in there, was like this lonely person being like, I've had enough. I can't keep living like this. And they like go off, right? And it's just this like desert of nothingness. And they're just trucking along, questioning every life decision that brought them to that moment. And then, but they trust that they are going in the right direction, that eventually, if they just keep going, they'll find civilization and life again, right? And then
Yeah.
finding that new city and that new tribe that brings them in, that sees life the way they see it. and as doing all the things that they imagined was possible for themselves.
Yeah.
And so like that road between the two spots of where you are right now and what you think is possible can be lonely. And so many people, they get halfway and they're like, I think I've made a mistake, I'm gonna go back. So you traveled the same distance to go back where you started, where if you had just kept going, it would have been the same amount of miles, but you would have gotten to a different destination.
I mean, that's fantastic. Your mind is spectacular. You should make little reels.
So I'm a runner, and when I like run a half marathon or a marathon or something, I always think of like if people could be in my head, they would institutionalize me because it'll go from like this like I'm amazing, let's go, like this is gonna be a great day to that like dark like what were you thinking? This was the worst decision of your life. How many times are you gonna think this is okay? To like, oh my goodness, we're already halfway there, and like that darkness again, and then it's like, oh look, people like it's always that.
Oh,
I'm like,
that's life, right? It's a roller
huh?
coaster.
Yep. I'm like, if people could see the comic strip of the angst and the happy and all the emotions in this bubble, they'd be like, what is happening here?
But
But I think
the
we
funny
have
thing is,
to,
that's so normal. Like, I hate the word normal anymore these days, but isn't that so normal? Like,
I don't know, is it to
we,
other people
yes.
experience that?
Well, I mean, with the way that the mind works, it's such a normal thing to go through like a variety of emotions in any situation. And we get stuck that things need to feel a certain way and be a certain way. And we have to be happy all the time. But it's all of those things combined that makes us make the next decision, which is actually going to be a better one for us. We need the turmoil in order to move. It's the
Oh, that's
motivation,
so good.
right? It's the
Yes.
motivation. And when people talk about like shame and guilt, like we need those feelings because they help us get so uncomfortable with where we are that we need to move forward into a different experience. All of those emotions, every single one of them, are what we came here for. We came here to planet Earth to have these. They don't have these feelings anywhere else in the multiverse. Like planet Earth is this way for a reason. And we keep coming back here thinking it's a punishment, but we're here excited to feel this range of emotions because it helps us grow as souls.
And that's the key right there.
Yeah.
The guilt, the shame, the discomfort, if you pause to learn from it, to change what you're doing to get a different result. But to feel the guilt and shame and use it as a punishment to stay stuck isn't the lesson that we were supposed to learn. We
It's
weren't
so
supposed to be
normal.
held in place by it.
Yeah.
We were supposed to
And,
go, oh, I don't like this. How do I do this differently?
and way too many people get stuck in the discomfort there rather than just look for a different feeling. Well, the only way that people tend to really move forward is when they've gotten so uncomfortable unconsciously that now they need to look for a better benefit than the solution that they've already chose as the comfort one. They need a different solution because this one's not working anymore. It's not until they're that uncomfortable with their reality, their experience, that they actually decide, okay, this isn't working anymore. I need to move on. And that's why they say, oh, you have to hit rock bottom, right? Before you can change. And it's the same thing with our emotions. It doesn't necessarily have to be like in our business experience or relationship experience. It could just be with us being so uncomfortable with feeling uncomfortable anymore.
Do you find that so like because you're a massage therapist and you help people move through pain, discomfort, all of the things in that space? Do you find that when people come for massages as a therapeutic method, not just like a spa day, that they've gone through all of those other stages of like, I don't know what else to try, so why not? Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I've tried acupuncture, I've tried meditation, I tried Reiki, I've gone and saw all the doctors. I have no diagnoses, nothing's wrong with me. I've had all the blood tests, right? Like, well, have you changed your job? Have you changed the way you think about your job? Have you changed the way you think about your family? Have you changed the way you think about life, your friends, yourself? Because we hold our issues in our tissues. So I see repetitiously, which is why I ended up in the work that I'm in now with the unconscious mind, is that there's a very big correlation between what we think and how we physically feel.
Mm.
So we physiologically manifest imbalances, diseases, illnesses, you know? we manifest that through the way that we think on repeat. We create our own story. So I see that with people, and massage ends up being like one of the last resorts. Most of the time, people are really happy. But what happens if I can't put that band-aid on and it be fixed, right? It doesn't just heal from there. What are they going to do next? Where are they going to go? If they know that all the medical stuff is perfectly fine, like on paper, they're fine, what's the next place to move into? What's the next place to explore? It's usually the emotions. It's usually the mindset and the common beliefs that we have, that we've created about ourselves through our experiences, that create that discomfort.
Mm, it's so true. And I know that our besties might be listening right now, being like, here's another person talking about mindset, blah, 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 blah. You don't get me. No, I 100% get you. And I think your thought process right now, if that's what you're thinking, is very valid. Because it's like, I don't have a mindset problem, just fix me now. Right. And so for the person right there who's struggling with that, like, what does mindset even mean? Like, what would you say to her? How would you help her through that muck to just help her take the next step?
Well, mindset is just a common belief that you have. It's not anything, I don't know. It's not complicated. It's just a belief that you have. Like some of us have a belief about relationships, about men in our lives, about people, and they always hurt us. Well, where did that belief come from? That's a mindset. A mind, you're set in the way you think. You're set in your mind about a person or an experience. So mindset doesn't have to be complicated. It just means that you think a certain way, and maybe that way is not necessarily benefiting you anymore. It did at one point, but if you really look at it, if you put it under a microscope, how is that benefiting you to think that way right now, currently? Right? The only reason why we're set in our mind is because we're trying to avoid a certain feeling or experience, or we believe that either A, we're not good enough to experience something different, B, we're different from everybody else. And so in order to stay the same, we have to think the same as everybody else, or that something is not available to us, right? A mindset is stuck in a belief that I can't ever have that. A healthy relationship will never reach me. I'll never be a good mother. I'll never be a good friend. I'll never have friends. I'm always going to be alone, right? Those are mindsets. Do you really want to stay stuck there? Like, is that going to benefit you and make your life better to sit there and believe that one thing that keeps you where you are? I don't think so.
How would you help her flip that script for herself right now?
I would have to ask her questions about what is the reason she believes that,
Yeah.
right? Because what I do in advanced conversational hypnosis is I help people uncover the reason for the mindset. So by asking questions based on what you're telling me, how can I help you get to a deeper understanding of your inner self and why you're stuck in that belief and why it's creating or limiting your options in life? Why
Yeah.
is it limiting your experiences? How is this mindset benefiting you? What is the unconscious payoff to keep this belief that is hurting you here, here, and here? So
Yeah.
that's, it's a process. It's not easy to talk to somebody and go, oh, there's the root cause. Because usually the belief that we have has now been submerged and layered under different things through the different experiences that we've had over and over again, right? Because if we have a cyclical belief, law of attraction says you get what you think, right? Most often. It also gives you what you feel the most. So if you feel terrible the most and you have that belief the most, you're going to get that experience over and over and over again. The universe is going to show up in a way and continue to show you that belief, right? Until you go, screw this, I don't want to think this way anymore. Then what happens? Where do you go to get help?
Yep.
How do you change that?
And I think that goes back to how we started this conversation today
Yeah.
of like that wanting that comfort in the discomfort. Like, I know this to be true based off of my surroundings. This was true for my parents. This is true for my siblings. If I look at the community around me, what are you saying that there's an alternative because everyone around me is experiencing the same thing? And that's when I pause and go, okay, that is true. That is true. Everyone around you has experienced the same thing that you're experiencing that has solidified the beliefs that you have.
Right.
But is it possible? Can you think of one person in this world that might not be in your community that has a different experience? And if it's possible for them to have a different experience, does that then mean that it's possible for you to have a different experience in a different environment if you choose so? And that like
Yeah.
that is, I know that that flipping the script thing was really, really eye-opening to me like
Hmm.
10, 12 years ago, because I didn't know there were other ways. But when someone said, is that true for everyone? Does every single human on this planet have that same experience? And I really thought about it. I was like, no. Well, can you think of someone who has something that you wish was possible? And I was able to like list, sometimes it was a celebrity I saw on TV, other times it was a teacher down the street or someone out in the community. But it was that like realization of like, wait a second, other people do have different experiences than me. They have different realities. This doesn't have to be true to me. So if that's true, what then could I change, even if it's not like an immediate result that I see, that would take me one step closer to experiencing what they're experiencing.
Exactly.
And that
Because
goes
if,
back to that desert of like that lonely
right,
road for a second.
exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, if that is true, wouldn't it be universally true?
Yeah.
If it was a problem that was like everybody had that problem, everybody would have that problem, right? If it was true. But the truth is that anything that one other person is capable of achieving, another person is. And we see that so often in just social media now. Look at these people who are not working. They're not going to a 9 to 5 job. And you've got these teenagers that are millionaires, right? Who knew that that was even possible 20 years ago, 24 years ago? We didn't know that you would just create a persona online and have a million people follow you, and then all of a sudden you're getting paid.
It wasn't a
If
path before. It wasn't a path until it was, and now that it is,
right,
why not?
everybody has access, right? So same thing. If you have a problem and you think that you're, most of the time we think we're the only one who has this problem. There's nobody like me that has this problem. But then we see somebody else has this problem. Well, why do they have this problem? Well, their reason for having this problem is different as you. And if they can find a solution, that means you can find a solution. So, if it were universally true, we would all have the same problem. The thing is we all have very different life experiences. We all have different parents. We all have different homes. We all have different friends. We all have different jobs. We all have different schools. And everything is unique to us on an individual level. So how could we sit here and selfishly think that that is the only way it could possibly be, because whether we're being selfish in a negative way or selfish in a positive way, that we're the only ones that can experience it that way. It's so
So
not
true.
true.
Like, oh, so good. Yesterday, I was talking to someone and she said, we're always building momentum. You're either, it doesn't matter if it's positive momentum towards your goals or negative momentum holding you back. You're always building momentum in one direction unless you're dead. And I was like,
Boom.
my brain stopped for a second because I was like, I never thought about negative momentum,
Oh yeah.
momentum backwards that's keeping you stuck.
Yeah.
And you just hit on it again today. And I just think the universe is so cool and how serendipitous
Yeah.
conversations are.
Synchronicity. For
Mm-hmm.
sure. Because aren't we all looking for that right there, that statement to know that like anything else is possible than what we're currently living? I know that I'm 41 years old. I know that for my whole life, I just thought I was doomed to be unhappy. And it wasn't until I discovered my unconscious payoff for staying unhappy that screw that. I don't want that reason anymore. Like, there's nothing benefiting me by being this way, by being
If I'm
this,
going to be unhappy, I might as well be trying to do something different.
right? I might as well change because this isn't working. 41 years, come on, get the hell out of here. I cannot live this way anymore. If I'm gonna be unhappy and uncomfortable, I might as well be unhappy and uncomfortable trying to find happiness,
Find happiness. Yes, if I'm going to be unhappy, I might as well be trying to find happiness.
right? Instead of sitting here and because I was that person spiraling in the opposite direction. Just when I get to where things can go up, I slap myself down again. All right, you're done here. That's uncomfortable to be in that place.
Yep. That self-sabotage cycle. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're familiar with Jamie Kern Lima. She is the founder of It Cosmetics. She's written two books. One of her most recent book, Worthy, she talks about how those of us who get stuck in that sabotage cycle where like we make really good progress, but then we like hit a ceiling and we go right back to who we were before. It's not because you have a self-confidence problem. You can have all the confidence in the world, but the reason you keep getting stuck and you can't cycle above the ceiling you currently have is because you have a worthiness problem. You don't actually think you're worthy of the things you've already accomplished to be worthy of
Yeah.
the next stage. And when I heard her say that, I was in a we were in a theater, and when I heard her say it, just broke into tears because I'm a very confident person, but yet
Yeah.
I keep finding myself in this sabotage loop. And every
Yep.
time I would get a little bit higher before I would go back into like my hole, but it wasn't making these massive changes that I knew I was possible for me. And it was like all of a sudden that realization that I actually didn't think I was worthy of all of my accomplishments to date, that they were all just a fluke. So who
Yep.
was I to think I was capable of changing to
More.
the level and getting
Yeah.
more when I didn't even deserve what I had already accomplished because I had like floundered it away or whatever. It still makes me emotional thinking about it now, but I think
Yeah.
that that's a very common experience for so many of us, especially ladies.
Yeah. It's huge. I mean, how can somebody be confident but not worthy?
Mm.
Like, what a strange place to be. How can you be confident in yourself but not worthy of whatever experience you want? That makes no sense. But we get ourselves stuck in that place all
But
the
it's
time.
also still very real.
Yeah, it feels very real to us because we've attached so many emotions to that unworthiness. We've attached so many, we've had confirmation bias over and over and over again of that unworthiness because that's what we're looking for, proof that we are unworthy,
Yep.
rather than looking for proof that we are worthy.
Yep.
And that's where that, that spiral goes up and the other one goes down. It's that belief that keeps smacking you down. It's that glass ceiling that you hit and you can't break through.
Yep. It's that I know I'm capable. I know I deserve all of these things. I know it's possible, but who am I to think that I'm actually worthy of any of it? It's how
Right.
you can stand in front of a boardroom in full confidence and know how people can talk to you and stand in your confidence, but then leave the room because you don't know your own knowingness. Like you're already worthy, whether you accomplish the things or not. You were already worthy of all the love, all of the change, all of the grace and energy and vitality that this life has to offer us. And we just, as soon as you own that and can truly accept that from within yourself, all of a sudden that confidence that you did have when you put on your confidence coat, like all of a sudden it starts, the rewards start paying off for you and you start seeing the fruit of your labor and you get to that new destination of change and knowingness at the same time.
Yeah, I
It's
got a
so cool.
visual because sometimes I'm like you in that way. I got a visual of putting a coat on and being so small in that coat, right? Like being a little child in an adult's coat. And then finally, when we finally grow into the understanding that we are worthy, when we put that coat on, it fits. It's
Yeah.
comfortable. It's the best fitting coat that we've ever had. Yeah. And that's the work, that's the work that I do. I help people try on new coats, ones that fit them better than the ones they've been wearing.
I
So,
love that.
yeah,
If that's not your tagline, it should be.
right. I'm gonna have to listen back to this and write that down because,
Because that is so good. And
yeah,
that visual is really clear.
yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, so good. How do people connect with you and continue the
So,
conversation?
yeah, so what I do is called advanced conversational hypnosis. Don't get scared about the hypnosis part because I don't put you into trance. You go in and out naturally, and I just utilize that. Um, Conversational means we talk about why you think you have the problem and what makes that problem a problem for you. And so I help people permanently change their mindset about themselves enough to get a new coat that fits them well. And what I do is oh, it's thundering here. I help professionals in the mental health and wellness industry also help their clients or patients achieve those results as rapidly as I help my clients achieve those results. So my specialty is sleep. Um, Anybody who's struggling with sleep. So you can go to my website, lifetransformationsolutions.com. I have my links or my on my webpage, like there's the drop down menu. Um, I have a sign up here, like that you can see next to the welcome right away. The welcome talks about me. It's getting updated, revamped, because when I created this, I was in that non-worthy place.
Mm.
But I am in a very worthy place these days. So this is all getting revamped. But I have a sign up here. I have, because I'm also a certified holistic health coach, I have scientifically backed products here that are patented herbs and phototherapy patches that you can access if you want to help yourself on the cellular level, just like as a starter. And then my services, my health coaching services, my ACH services, my teaching services. If you want to join my program, anybody who listens to this, who is in the coaching or therapy industry, any kind of therapy industry where you work with people to help them become a better version of themselves, I can teach you how to do that and quickly by utilizing the principles of the mind so that your clients can find that mindset where they're stuck and shift their perspective so that now they're unstuck.
So good. Go check that out. I'll make sure that that is linked in the show notes. So you just have to scroll down into the description and push the button. You don't even have to remember all of the letters she told you to go type into your browser. It'll be right there for you to click.
Yeah.
Regina, I loved our conversation today. I think it was so wholesome and so honest and so raw. And I know I got so many nuggets out of it today. So I wanted to say thank you for being here and being yourself. Is there anything that you wanted to share today that we didn't get to, or any parting thoughts that you want to leave with the listener today?
I always say, don't give up on yourself. Don't
Mm.
think that you're stuck where you are because you're not. And I know that me saying that makes resistance go up within you. But if I can, after 40 years, find the solution to the problems I created by the way that I think, then you can too. Because I came from a very traumatic household, a very traumatic life experience, a lot of running away, a lot of lack of self-worth, a lot of lack of self-confidence, a lot of imposter syndrome. And I've gotten to the place where I am so in love with myself in a non-narcissistic way. I am so in love with what I'm doing, who I am, what I'm creating, what I'm helping people to create in their lives, the relationships that I'm building with my children, which was very strained in the beginning. If I can come to this place where I am so happy, it's possible for everybody else. So don't give up on yourself, ever.
I feel that. Thank you so much. And with that, that's Two Humans Talking. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.